Jason, excited for episode number 3.
Yeah, dude.
I think the first couple have been super solid. And today we're going to talk about masculinity because it's a pressing issue that I think a lot of Christian men in the church are facing. And Bryce Crawford, one of the biggest Christian influencers in modern day, the other week I saw him post a video about this where he's like, I have been seeing around on the social media people talk about how men are soft and Christian men are feminine and this, that, and the other. And I agree. I think that's a real issue in the church. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think this is a relevant topic, right? Like I think, to be honest, if we look back 20 years ago, there's different trends, right? Like Christianity always has different things, right? So let's just say 15, 20 years ago, it was leadership. Every book was on leadership, right? The Craig Groeschel, the Bill Hybel, a lot of these guys, I'm not naming guys that are good or bad, I'm just naming guys, but these are the guys that put out these books on. John Maxwell, right, great, amazing leader. I mean, I know guys that are being mentored by John Maxwell, and it's like, cool, man, like you're in a Zoom chat room with John Maxwell, like praise God, like that's probably had to pay a pretty penny, like you had to probably pay a lot for that, but like, hey, cool, man. But it was all about like building and creating amazing systems and teams, and it was all about leadership, right? Disciplines of a Godly Man, Spiritual Leadership by Blackwell as well. It's a book I just took guys through, but it was all about like maximizing spiritual potential. Then I really think mid-2000s, probably 10 years ago, if not less, masculinity became this new issue of guys are writing on biblical masculinity. We had these really masculine guys like Driscoll, some of these other guys. Who were there? Some of the big John MacArthur, like some of these like big like names, big forces, very powerful men, booming voices, calling boys to be men. And then you had on the other spectrum guys that were a bit more just a different vibe. Like there was different flavors, and that's fine. But there was a shift, and I've seen it, and I think there's a reason we're talking about it. Maybe again, 20 years ago we weren't good leaders. Okay, well maybe now we're better leaders, but something has happened to masculinity because we were raised boomers, right? Like how old's your dad?
52.
Okay, so my dad's 60 something. So they're both boomers. What did your dad do for work?
He's a teacher.
Okay. School teacher?
So is my mom.
Okay. So blue collar, work hard, come home, love your family.
Right.
Was he emotive, or was he like?
He was a little more. Dude's like it was always like 240 to 260 and like jacked.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's a big guy.
Yeah, big guy, yeah. And definitely more on the masculine side of what you would think is associated with being masculine. So,
right. So, and my dad was, he was a computer guy, started his own company. He's an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I went to the gym with him when I was a baby, like I've got my son here in the studio. Like I grew up going to the gym with my dad, like 4 a.m, riding him with him to work in high school. So
we would go to the YMCA with my dad.
Yeah. We went to the Y, dude. We went to the Y with my dad.
The one that was on 59?
No, we were in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
But dude, I went to the Y.
So
like
cool.
My dad was an athlete. He's a soccer player. Less emotive. He was highly emotive on some things, and on other things, there wasn't a thing. So we're this new generation. Like I'm a millennial. I don't think you're not a millennial, right? Are you Gen?
I'm like on the bridge of millennial and Gen Z.
Okay. So we're like, I'm elder, like younger millennial, right? Where we had more intuition with emotions. We were understanding that therapy wasn't the devil and it wasn't demonic always, or depression isn't just pray harder, try more. So I think there has been this new era of emotional awareness that doesn't have to come off femmy weird.
Right.
And then there's a spectrum, right? Like the spectrum is dominating intense or passive pansy, right?
And there's something beautiful somewhere in between.
And what's
there.
the middle, right? And I think every book is trying to find this middle. What does it mean to be a godly Christian man without, again, maybe being the pulpit pounding Driscoll, like energy, but also not being like limp-wristed, weak and wobbly and wishy-washy doormatty. Like we're not called to be that either. We're called to be warriors for Christ. And I know we're going to get into it. Like we have a whole podcast to talk about this, right? But Jesus was the perfect man, right? He was not only the theanthropos, the God man, right? But he is the perfect example of biblical masculinity, right? Like So many books speak of Joshua. It's like David. It's like, dude, are you conquering Goliath in your life? Like, no, none of us are, bro. There's no giants anymore. Like, we don't know how to use a slingshot. Like, we're not out slaying giants. We don't have David's mighty men that are dropping bodies like John Wick. Like, we're not warriors. We want to think we are. We aren't killing people in the name of God and nation, right? We're not crusaders.
For sure.
Right? So Old Testament could be some cool principles.
Speak for yourself on that.
Okay, I'm just kidding. Watch out.
No,
Where we can be lethal, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think every man should be lethal, right? But then loving, right? So, but we look at these
part of this
big guys.
issue is domestication.
Correct. 100%.
And I've talked about this on other podcasts too, where I'm like, I think the issue with some of this transformation to being more soft and incapable of self-defense and
100%.
guys who have never stepped a foot in the gym to lift some weights, like just doing some basic things that are like hard and physically challenging, or even emotionally challenging, because it's not just a physical conversation, has to do with domestication, has to do with you get everything at your fingertips with social media. Now, even with the food and clothes that you buy shows up to your door, or the corporate 9 to 5 that's in the perfect 72-degree temperature all day long.
Yeah.
And you're safe and you're sound.
We're
cozy
really
and comfortable,
comfortable.
domesticated.
I know.
I think that's
so
part
true.
of the conversation.
I think we have to talk about it because you're right. I think we were the gen, and I'm thankful, right? Like I was the last generation that grew up without Wi-Fi, without iPhones. We had to use our imagination. I grew up in the woods of Pennsylvania, and my son Seth is growing up in Phoenix, right? Like we're like, don't play in the street, you'll get shot or stolen, right? So like, I was scared to let him take the trash out for many years because it's Phoenix, right? But I grew up, without sounding old, and we were gone, dude, right? Like my mom rang a cowbell to bring us home. Bing, bing, bing.
Supper's
bing,
ready.
Bing, bing, bing. Because we'd be gone, but we'd be in the woods building forts, catching frogs, like Little House on the Prairie. We had creeks and rivers, and we'd raft when the rains would come, and we'd throw rocks at each other and like hit each other with sticks and build BMX ramps and like skateboard, and like we played lacrosse, and like we were boys without it being weird or even being given permission to be boys. Like, there was more gender.
It was natural, very
and
just organic.
Now it's weird. Now we have to tell boys you can be boys. Before there was no gender conversation. You're just a boy, dude, and girls are girls, and no one was questioning that. Right now we question everything, which is so silly. But guys, we just did that stuff, man. We caught frogs and built forts and hung out, and then we would play Xbox, of course. And
so what happened between then and now, to where we now have gender confusion?
Social media. Social media. I mean, social media, wokeism, feminism, corruption, a fallen world, sexual brokenness, the devil, demonic activity, all those things, man, right? Like the moment, because of course, all those things were always around. Pornography was around. We just would pass around magazines. Like we would print out pictures and trade them like baseball cards, right? Like we didn't have an iPhone. They weren't Snapchatting nudes. We were just printing out porn, hiding it in our bedroom, right? Like it was hard, but you can still find it. There were porno shops and video stores in the Blockbuster section, you know, you're like a little kid, like, ooh, sneaking around, and like now.
So it's this cocktail of issues.
There's always been brokenness.
Right.
There's always been sexual brokenness. Trace it all the way back in the scriptures, bro. Like Romans chapter 1. God gave them over to perverse desires. There's always been sexual brokenness. Look all the way back where there's incest and rape in the Old Testament, of this unbelievable brokenness where we have unbelievable, terrible things happen, right? You know, you think of Lot and his daughters and all kinds of crazy stuff, right? So it's like there's always been brokenness because there's always been sin. But now it's so in your face. And it went from private, secret, tolerated to public praise and celebrated. That's the shift we've seen. It was like taboo, don't tell anybody. Now it's like the more weird, wonky, kinky, taboo your thing is, the more the culture champions you. Wow, you're so unique. Oh my goodness, high five for being crazy. And we're the ones that look weird, right? So I think now men are like, the fact that we have to talk about how to be a man is crazy, kind of, honestly.
Yeah.
But there are truly, I remember I know I'm ranting, but this comes back to fatherlessness. right? Like a point that I want to talk about, right, is the decline of male formation, right? Back in the day, in let's say the 60s, 70s, and 80s, right, men joined the military. Men worked blue-collar jobs. Blue-collar jobs came with apprenticeships. They had to work hard. They had long-term mentorship. The father was maybe not emotionally available, but the Leave It to Beaver dad. Let's just look at the Leave It to Beaver family, right? Mom, and I'm not saying like that view is perfect, of course. But that was the model, right? Mom's home, cooking, full makeup in a gown. Oh, hi. Leave It to Beaver. Like Beaver's out having a great time. And then the dad came home from work and kissed his wife, and they had dinner and looked each other in the eyes and went to bed and did it all over again, right? And went to the factory or whatever. So there was this a departure from joining the military, joining civic jobs, having the apprenticeship, having that discipleship. There's now less church involvement. There's now less mentorship. There's less military activity. There's less initiative to seek out mentorship and there's increased fatherlessness. So the moment we take the father out of the role,
that's huge.
We now do have to train men how to be men. Why? Because they were raised by a woman. They were raised by a grandmom. Or maybe they're raised by a grandpa, but that's not even the same thing. Yeah. It's better.
And might I even insert that you can have issues where there's two men raising you as a son and the mother's absent.
That's not ideal. Right? We think like, oh, that'd be even better. No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, one guy.
Yeah, that's right.
Like two dudes. Right. It's not good.
Because
stats show us that.
Right.
Or two women. Stats show us those kids don't end up great.
Right.
Not, you know what I'm saying. I'm not saying they're terrible, but it is not God's ideal. Right. God's ideal is one man, one woman, right? And so any other expression of that is broken and is going to create, with, of course, God's grace can intervene, all these things, but it's going to be a marred image of what God was trying to design, which was that family structure, right? That beautiful community that we're supposed to be raised in, right? The mom, dad, and kiddos, right? So the moment we took fathers out of this scene, I remember growing up, early YouTube, there was a guy he was like this old guy. He was like one of those guys like, oh, I'll just start posting on YouTube. And it was him. This is how you change a tire. This is how you change oil.
That's how you tie a tie.
Here's how you tie a tie.
Here's how you shave.
And he's huge. I don't even know if he's still alive. This is old YouTube.
20 years ago.
He had millions of subscribers. And it was just this old man teaching boys how to do man things, how to shine shoes. Like some guys, like I know, like they've never shined a shoe before. They don't know how to tie a tie. They don't know how to shave. And again, some of them didn't have the blessing. Like, so they could be listening to like, dude, shut up, Jason. Like my dad died when I was 10. It's like, I'm sorry, dude. Like that's when the church should step in. That's where male role models, that's where mentorship and discipleship or an uncle or a grandpa, look, there's got to be some guy, right? So when you don't have that and culture is pushing down your throat, toxic masculinity, which is a new term from the last 10 years, all of a sudden, guys, you have to second guess everything you do. Can't be too loud because then you're too brazen. Right. Can't be too wimpy because then you're weak. Got to be this, got to be that. Can't be that, you'll come off this way. Now have to second guess everything, and we're just trying to get back to the basics of what does God design a man to be, right? So what would you say, like if you could describe a masculine man, how would you describe him? Not a trick question, but I have a point. But like
I think it goes back to Jesus. I think that's what I was talking about earlier. I think it goes back to Jesus, and we see him modeling moments of what was he? He overturned the tables in the synagogues.
Yeah,
right. Like he did things that were the stereotypical connotation of what toxic masculinity is. Right. But then he was also someone who was like weeping when he saw that Lazarus had passed. He was somebody who in Luke 8 goes to the woman accused of adultery, you know what I mean, and comforts her.
Yes.
He's someone who describes himself as gentle and lowly. So he's this strong person, but he's also this very tender person. So not trying to be cliche, but I genuinely think that is what masculinity is.
Yes. Yeah.
In a nutshell. And we can go even further, but that's just in a nutshell.
100% right. Jesus could have come conquering king, red carpet,
right.
But he came, Philippians chapter 2, lowly, humble, born of a virgin, born of a servant, in human form. And then it says, then he bestowed upon him the name above all names, right? Philippians chapter 2, 12 to 9 through 12. And then we know he'll come back as triumphant Christ, and it'll be a much different vibe on the white horse, bringing the sword of the mouth. I mean, it's going to be nuts, right? But he came holy, lowly. But think about John chapter 13, right? John chapter 13 is the washing of the feet, the Last Supper. He should have had his foot washed by the boys. It was an insult that no one washed Jesus' feet. So he gives them one last lesson. The last lesson is, the greatest among you must be the least. And so he grabs the towel, right? Starts washing the feet. And then Peter's like, no, don't. You cannot wash my feet. How dare you? And he said, if I don't wash my feet, you have no part of me. Meaning, if you don't humble yourself before me, you're not with me. And then he says, okay, do my head and my whole body. And he goes, stop. Now you're being dramatic. He says, you're already clean from the word that you've spoken. I just want to cleanse. I just want to wash the feet. Like, you're already pure before me. Just want to get the dust off your feet. And it's this beautiful picture of humility, right? And have you ever washed someone's feet before, dude?
I think I've done it when I was younger, like once or twice.
Everyone should do it. Everyone should do it, and not in a weird way.
Right.
I will tell you two things. One, everyone listening should wash someone's feet. But I will tell you, even worse is having your feet washed. Much worse. I would wash 100 feet before I let someone touch my dogs.
Why is that?
It's worse. It's more humbling to receive. It's easier to give. The same thing. Would you rather buy someone's groceries or have someone buy your groceries?
Right.
It's easy to give, bro.
Right.
Like, I'll give you $100 right now. I don't have it, but like, I have no problem grabbing someone's groceries. But if someone was like, hey, let me get that. Why do we all fight over the bill to dinner? No, let me get this. No, we'll split it. No, I want to get it. Oh, I'm like sneak around and get the waiters. Like,
yeah.
But if you get my tab, bro, like, I'm angry, and then I'm like, all right, blessings. Like, thanks, Reece. Like, that's a blessing. But like, I'm kind of embarrassed, and like I don't feel like
don't pity me.
And I don't feel like a man.
Yeah.
How about that? I don't feel like a provider.
Interesting.
Yeah. Right? I feel like my masculinity is in check. Like, I can get my own bill, right? And there's like a macho moment, right? So it was humbling to have Jesus wash your feet, because he's the one that shouldn't be. So to receive that was, I understand where Peter was coming from. It was like this, oh my gosh, not you. Like, it was like this.
Yeah.
So when I had my feet washed, so it was a very special experience. It was when I was ordained as a pastor, and all the pastors had to wash my feet. And then my wife was having her feet washed by all the women, all the pastors' wives. And we were in two separate areas of the church, and they went around the room sharing like a pastoral charge. And full on, like, untying my shoes, taking off my stinky socks, even though like I washed my feet like 100 times before that day. Like, you got dress socks on.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to preach after when I'm being anointed, right? So taking off dress socks,
Yeah.
putting my feet in the basin. I mean, they're not giving me like a petty, but like, they're giving it like a little wash.
Yeah.
Then they put my socks back on. Gross, bro. Retie my shoes. And I kept trying to and they're like, dude, stop. Like, receive this. Bro, it was humiliating, humbling. But it was one of the most special, sweet, precious moments, right? And then I was ordained and got to preach, and it was wonderful. But like, there is this moment where it is very easy to give a certain gesture. But as a man, I think we've been instructed not to receive help, which goes back to our first episode about mental health, about men being islands and not needing anything from people. And so you were trained to not let anyone do something for you that you can't do for yourself, because it gives a sign of weakness. It's a sign of vulnerability. And when that happens, if you're vulnerable, right, we've mistaken that as weakness, or you're extortable or malleable. And so it's you should have Bridget wash your feet, bro.
I feel like she's done it once or twice. I feel like I've washed her feet once before. Maybe she's washed mine once too, but it's been a while.
It's tough, bro. So how do you see it showing up in your life? So the way that you were raised, how was your father with you emotionally? How did he demonstrate manhood for you?
Yeah, well, I'm going to highlight what you were just saying, which was just that, again, we started the conversation by talking about, these things which are typically more associated with masculinity, right?
Yeah.
Protection, provision, even battle, being ready and prepared for battle.
Yeah.
And then even just then you're talking about Jesus being the pinnacle of masculinity and him saying, well, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Jesus was loving. Jesus was super humble, super lowly, super meek, didn't come on the red carpet. And so for me, again, I want to make sure that people listening take home this idea that there is a tension with masculinity. And I think when people say that masculinity has become toxic is when there's an imbalance in that tension.
Right.
And it goes too far to one side.
Right.
And so then what we don't want to do is think they're mutually exclusive, that we can't have both, or that it's a dichotomy of sorts. It's like, no, it's a both and. Like we want to be conquerors, adventurers, warriors, all those sorts of things. Let me pause this real quick. Cool. We want to be conquerors, warriors, and adventurers and do all those sorts of things and be ready for battle. But we also want to be tender and loving and emotionally present and available.
Yeah, 100%.
Like you have to have both of those things. So to go back to your other question, can you say that one more time? About
your father?
Yeah, you were saying, how did my dad model masculinity?
And that's one of the notes I had made was just the pendulum effect, right? And I want to ask about your dad.
Yeah.
When culture rarely corrects, culture always overcorrects, right? So masculinity is now bad. So then we overcorrect, and now we're toxic, right? So now we're apologetic, we're wimpy, we're weak. Now we're surprised when someone says, "Well, you have a firm handshake," right? Like, how is that again? Like, because we've gone soft, right? Like, men are surprised if you have calluses on your hands. Like, we're now the opposite, right? Or, hey, to be feminine, but now that's weird. So now women have to be masculine, and we don't like that either. And culture always overcorrects, right? Like, a lot of times people get in car accidents dodging something and then overcorrecting back, right. and then they roll, right? Versus just a quick soft correct. That
literally happened to Bridget and I.
Yeah. We had a close friend of ours. They dodged a deer, overcorrected back, and they rolled their Hummer or whatever it was, the SUV. Boom, boom, boom. And it was like, they dodged it. They were just trying to get back on the road, and they overturned it.
So culture does the same thing.
Always overcorrects, right? So we go from, we don't want to be this version.
Yeah.
We don't want to be our dads. We don't want to be factory, blue collar, emotionally unavailable, brutish, alcoholic, monsters. Okay, so now we're going to be super self-aware and into emotions and weepy, cryy, and I grew up in that. Like we went to from skinny jeans to like Hot Topic.
John Mark Comer.
Yeah, 100%. John Mark Comer, like journaling and poetry. And like all the good things. I've written my poems. I journal.
He's cool.
I just recently transitioned out of skinny jeans with working out and skinny jeans don't work out forever. Funny, and so like I understand, like we grew up in this tension. So we were pushed from be this, but now it's gone so far. People are going, where is the guy now? Where's the man that's can be both? Yeah. Why can't we be a better version of the, maybe not even better, a new or a returned with a better balance, and the balance is seen in Christ. It's not seen, it's seen in the other characters, like the courageousness of Joshua, the boldness of Paul, the brashness of Peter, the humility of Titus and Timothy to serve. Those are all great, but Jesus was it, right? He was, like you said, there were meek moments and there were mighty moments.
So good. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and even to be meek is to be mighty under submission. To be meek means to be bridled. It means to be harnessed with the Holy Spirit. It's the bit in the horse's mouth. The horse is still mightier, but the bit controls the horse. That's what it means to be meek. It means power under submission. It means I could crush this thing, but I'm going to hold it gently because I love it. But I have the strength to crush it. Just because I could doesn't mean I should, right? So Jesus could have just gone, flick, bing, the disciples out of the galaxy for talking back. Instead, he says, here, Peter, come over here. Come here. Yeah. Hey. Don't talk to me like that again. Come here, Peter. Peter, come here. Shut up. He's like, come on, dude. Like, he could have just like, I'm going to re-exist you, come on. He could have done anything, but he was, and then there were moments where he made a cat of nine tails and he whipped some butt and he flipped some tables and he was like, dude, I will not let people be oppressed by the religious leaders. That's unacceptable. So he wasn't afraid to confront, right? Like men should not be afraid to confront. we've got to have hard conversations. We've lost the art of hard conversations. But anyway, so I want to ask about your father. What was it like for you being raised? How was your father-son dynamic?
It was pretty good, man.
Yeah?
It's funny because they're going to be listening to this.
I was going to say, I'm like, got to be careful what I'm saying.
No, honestly.
My dad was the worst.
No, dude he was awesome.
So you're blessed.
One of the best dads. Yeah, seriously, I think I could have asked for.
Yeah.
I think there's a few things that I want to highlight that I think were done well. And that honestly become hot takes, in my opinion, of what is a masculine man now. Yeah. But some people go, well, how could you say such a thing?
Wow.
And that if my friends are listening, might, take offense to. And one of those being physical fitness. I'm just going to start with that.
Okay.
Like my dad was in the gym, taking us to the gym. His second job was landscaping, and he does all the landscape work at his church. And so
he was a hard worker.
So just this idea of strength and strongness. And obviously, like, some people are on disability. Some guys can't do things for whatever reason. But like, if you have the capacity, there's no excuse not to do those things. Why is it that God has given us testosterone and the capacity to grow? Because that's part of our role. So anyway, so he modeled that extremely well. I remember, like I was saying, going to the YMCA, and I would know he's there because I heard him, not because I saw him. And again, like 250, pretty lean, and it was just super cool. I want to see
a picture of him another time.
I'll show you one after.
Is he still working out?
Yeah, he still works out. Yeah, he's just getting a little bit of the dad bod. He's in his 50s.
You heard it. He said it.
Yeah. But no,
he's going to challenge you.
So I think that was cool. Like, really, honestly, and I've taken that I'll take that with me to the grave. Like, that habit.
So what did that instill for you, bro? Like, so besides the physical, fitness teaches so many principles, and I know I don't want to just be fitness junkie podcast, even though that'd be sick. But fitness is such a part of Christianity, and it's, I think, one of the greatest examples, maybe outside of the family, husband, wife relationship with the Lord, examples of his heart for the church. I really believe fitness is one of the greatest examples of the spiritual life as well,
100%.
Right? Because you start off stinky,
100%.
weak, unwell, untrained, unwell physically, and then the gym is a life journey.
Yes.
Right? Like, there's no silver bullet. Even maybe there might be some faster tracks to others. There's still no magic bullet.
100%.
No one can do it for you.
Right.
Like, I can't pay you. I wish I could pay you to work out for me, and I get muscles. Right? Like, no one can do the Christian life for you. Right? Like, I can't pay you to be holy for me. I can't pay you to pray for me. It's built, not bought, right? And so that's why having strength, or let's just even say having muscles, is a flex, because you had to work for it.
Yeah,
it does. It demonstrates dedication, commitment, consistency,
self-control,
nutrition, self-control, discipline, hard work, all those things. And in the Christian life, it lines up with so much of
100%.
All kinds of scriptures about training the body. And training the mind, training the heart, running the race, running with endurance. I mean, there's a million fitness-like passages. Speaking of the spiritual life.
Correct.
So what did it instill for you? Seeing your dad, being in the gym, and also, by the way, I want to mention, he had a hard job.
2 jobs.
2 hard physical jobs.
Yeah.
And then worked out. Not like office jobs, which is fine, but like he had more energy. Like he had every reason not to. Like, especially working landscaping, bro. Yeah. Being in the heat in Phoenix.
I think that's just it. I think it's hey, we're gonna be exceptional, and in all areas.
Yeah.
And one of those being your temple.
Yeah.
Which just affects everything. It affects how you show up for your wife and your family and your long-term health and your ability to be there for your grandkids down the road, like all those things. So it's truly stewarding the body. Huge.
Yeah.
It's a ripple effect in every area of your life. And like you said, it has to do with discipline. It has to do with denying the flesh, self-control, and just doing hard things.
Yeah.
That theme alone, doing hard things, translates into every area of life. So I think that's why I think that is such a huge thing for. It was a really good example that my dad said. The other thing I think was, so many things. I'm just trying to think of like what's helpful for our conversation. Well, school and academics was another one. Yeah. Like, that's part of being a man too, I think, is challenging yourself academically.
Yeah, right? That's a great point. Honestly. No one talks about that. Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of guys get the bad rap of being dumb and jock.
Right. Yeah,
like,
the meathead that doesn't know how to read.
Right.
Yeah.
And my dad was like a bio teacher. And so I think that was also really encouraging throughout my life of, hey, what it means to be masculine is that it also means to have a brain.
Yes.
Yeah. So
you
having
can be
a brain.
Smart man.
And not just being some caveman, right?
100%.
You got a lot of meatheads out there that are good at lifting weights, but they're just brutes, dude.
They got the 45-pound plate math.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
So he was that model on the physical side, but also the academic side. I think emotionally, as I grew older, I noticed him actually like transform and God work on his heart, even to this day, where I'm like, he's becoming more and more and more spiritually inclined. And so those are things that I started to see a little bit later in life of like, hey, like being emotionally transparent and vulnerable. Maybe not as, if he's listening, maybe not as much when we were, in middle school.
Grew into it.
He's growing and it's really cool to see. And so I would say those three areas of like your brain, your heart, your body, your soul, like all those three things he did really well. And I'm so grateful for it, man. You talked about earlier, we are in such an epidemic, actually beyond that, we're in a pandemic, if you want to call it that, of fatherlessness that is plaguing young men.
It's true.
And when you don't have a father, and I wanted to dive more into this as well, when you don't have a mother, or a healthy version of the two, right? Then there's something missing, because I believe that not only fathers but also mothers can teach us about what it means to be a healthy man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, 100%. I mean, look at who was at the cross. Jesus was Mary.
Yeah.
His mom. His mom was there. Maybe Joseph was there. He's not mentioned.
Sure.
But there are 3 Marys. Isn't that a weird fact too? There's 3 Marys at the cross. So random. But his mom was there all the way to the end. So I have to believe he had a great relationship with his mom. And then even at the end, he tells John, hey, John, behold my mother. And he says, go take care of her. When I'm gone, take care of her. Right? I mean, he literally makes sure his mom's taken care of. Like, he has a great relationship with his mom, which is a really precious picture that, again, I don't think we hear anyone talking about, right? But then we knew that he grew up in maturity, right? We know in Luke, he says he grew in stature and maturity, being well-versed in the scriptures, and he astounded the Pharisees, at Passover as a young boy, right? Confounding them with his knowledge. And obviously he was God, but still, he was still a boy. And so he is growing in his physical capacity as well, right? And so we do see this beautiful harmony where women are able to teach men what it means to be compassionate, what it means to be empathetic, what it means to be sympathetic, what it means to care for your siblings, what it means to be gentle even with a woman, right? I mean, that's your first woman in your life in a sense. They're modeling healthy relationship of being kind and compassionate and not being a jerk to your mom, right? Like, I was told this, and a little dating tip is watch how they treat their parents. And my mom told me, she said, if you're interested in someone, watch how they treat their siblings and their parents, because that will be how they one day treat you. If they're because they're the most familiar with them.
Correct.
So if they're the most familiar with their parents or siblings, and they come off rude or cutting or snippety or bratty or arrogant or jerky or rude or name calling, that'll be on you. If they're mean to their parents, they'll be mean to you one day. And so I was like a sweet little nugget I took from my mom growing up of like, I was watching for how people treated their parents, because it was a direct indication of something going on in their heart. Right. So the guy teaches us this, again, in the perfect ideal. And what's so sad, truly, is the home is so broken. We're talking to people that are listening. Many of them don't know what it's like to have a mom and a dad. Even our kids growing up in public school, and now they're in private Christian, most of the time they were the only kid without divorced parents.
Dude, I know.
And a whole class, bro.
It's nuts, dude. For like divorce is like 50%.
50, 55
like
now.
55.
It's insane, right? And so Seth and Emmy, our kids, were
so people aren't even getting married anymore?
No,
it's
right.
Crazy.
So now there's that, which is another problem, right? Now there's delayed marriage.
Yeah.
I got our friends in their 30s and 40s like, what's the rush?
Mom and dad have different last names. Yeah.
So much confusion. You should just be, you got married. You didn't date around. You just fell in love. You got married. Yeah. You found someone that had, you're attracted to, that was a Christian. Don't overcomplicate it, and you get married.
We need to do a whole podcast.
Oh my gosh, a dating podcast. I love it. I'm passionate about relationships.
Soon, for sure.
I will rant on that all day. So,
but you said again, fathers, mothers, so perfect for needing that balance of what it means to be a healthy man. I want to cut you off only because I want to give
you're
you
totally good.
I want to give you space to share. Like, what were some things your dad did that helped you understand what it means to be a healthy man and have healthy masculinity in your life?
So my dad, he'll probably be listening too. I love my dad. My mom and my dad are awesome. They love the Lord. I think a couple things very similar too, which is amazing. And again, I understand it's actually crazy that we both have strong Christian parents. We're very blessed. Number one, I'll start fitness too. He was always in the gym. He was always, still to this day, he just had a shoulder injury, but CrossFit, bodybuilding, or at least just going to the gym. Right.
That was some old like black and white photos or something.
Yeah. Like he was in the gym. I'll have to find some old pictures. Yeah. So, and then he was an entrepreneur, right? So he was a hard worker. Now he was probably, there were times where he was maybe disconnected or bogged down in the IT world. He was the president of his own IT company, right? And it's like I remember having like his laptop at the beach, and like back in those old giant Dell laptops that were like, with like the cables and so I know he was working hard as an entrepreneur. And so
on the beach, bro.
On the beach, on vacation, like those big old box, like he had the first cell phones. He was always like a tech guy, and so but he worked hard. Like we had employees working in our basement, and he was a self-starter, and he was hardworking. He was social. Something I really learned from my dad was my social skills. My dad is like the ultimate schmooze, charmer, chats with everybody.
How we doing?
How you do? Goes into our wall. So like QT, the QT East Coast equivalent is called Wawa. Is like that's like the amazing gas station. So like you get your coffee, you get your subs. So like he would buy all the employees like Christmas cards, give them gift cards. Very generous man, by the way. He knew all of them by name, and his name's Dave. And so like I learned, like, so that's how I am, right?
Cool.
Like very social, outgoing. How you doing, Bob, Bill, Betty? Okay. Hey. Like that's my dad, right? Like he's talks to strangers in the airport. Like,
does he have a mustache too?
He does not. He's always been clean shaven. I know. I wish he would have a
like
mustache. Yeah, he would. He actually looks sick with it. So I think my mom wouldn't let him. So I learned social skills from him, and then I worked for him. So I started, because I was homeschooled, I started working for him in high school. So I went on set with him, or not on set. I went on jobs with him. On tour. Like I would be his driver. He'd be on the phone. This is Dave Fieser from Fieser Computer Services. Blah, blah, blah. And I just listen to him troubleshooting IT on the phone. I would drive, and then I would sit there in doctor's offices and run updates and talk to the people, and he'd be in the back programming, and I just got to work with him. So I got father-son apprenticeship from freshman to senior year. I had 3 years of IT resume before I started college, which again, I know is not normal, but was a huge blessing. Sure. So I learned that. And then also he was always tender to my mom.
So good.
Never saw them fight. He never cussed. Never cussed, never drank. I've never seen him drink alcohol. That was a personal conviction that they had. Never cussed. Only a couple times in my life, there was like say the D word, and they'd be like, "I'm sorry, boys."
Hit the hip on the corner.
Yeah. Like the car that almost hits you, and he'd be like, oh, and he would like drop like the D word. He'd be like, and then he would turn around in the car and be like, "I'm sorry, kids. Yeah, I'm sorry." And I'd be like, "It's fine, Dad. Like, we think it's cool." No, we're like, "Hey, Dad cursed." But like probably 3 times in my life, like no cussing, doesn't drink, neither does my mom.
You're like, "Dad, you should hear us out on the playground at recess."
Dude. So he was a great role model, but also he was very emotional. So my dad's a crier and proud of it, and so no shame on that.
Apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
I'm a crier, dude. I'm a crier, man. Like I watch a sad movie. I cry when I preach sometimes. Sure. I cry when I worship. Like I am very emotional because emotions aren't wrong. Right. Emotions are emotion, right? They could be wrong or they could be right. They're not moral, right? Mm-hmm. They can be used, exploited by the enemy, right? Or to be harnessed for the Lord, right? Yeah. So, but I like my dad was like, oh, he would just always be crying. Like we would watch the old show, Extreme Home Makeover Edition. Dude, remember that show with what's the guy's Ty?
Got me too. Yeah.
And like, because like, I mean, the families or lives are transforming, and my dad would just be like, he'd be, and my mom would be like, David, come on, David, she'd like, so my mom was, so there was some sweet dynamics there, but I would say for sure emotional,
hardworking.
He never, it was never, but also hunt, fish, firearms, the Bible, America.
Let's go, dude.
Love our country. Yeah. He was not afraid. We would go shooting. We had target practice. I did archery. We did rock climbing. And again, a lot of that was homeschooling. But we got to do all those things. They didn't keep us away from the hard stuff. And they allowed us to get injured, get hurt, not wear a helmet. It was that era where we weren't padding the corners of the tables. Now we do. And I understand that's part of it. Like, I don't want my kid to have a head trauma. But we grew up differently, where we had freedoms. And so it was, dude, he modeled, and I mean, he helped me in college. Like, he was a great saver. He was very financially well off. He worked with Dave Ramsey, super heavy in the Dave Ramsey stuff. So the cash envelope system, and modeled for me financial integrity and financial responsibility. So he always took care of our family.
Dude, imagine if you didn't have a dad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, dude, just imagine if that wasn't there.
It's like the wind just took out my stomach. Like, so you're either learning from someone on YouTube, or you're listening to some trash online,
or left to your own demise,
or you have someone like Andrew Tate,
right?
And you're like, oh, I should have a harem, drive car, and get a Lambo, and sell real estate, and just be a jerk, right? Like, there are guys that they don't have dads, bro, and they don't know what to do, which is why the church should be better at it.
Yeah, well, I think that this is a great time to transition. And first of all, like, dude, that's hitting me hard, because I'm thinking, like, again, what if I did not have a dad?
We'd be different.
Like, you were rambling, and I'm sure I could go forever too, where it's like,
we would be different.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Our dads had changed us so much.
100%.
And I remember growing up too, my parents would always tell us, they're like, hey, we're going to go on vacation for a couple weeks. Did you know that, like, as teachers, 70-80% of our students that we talk to never get to do what you guys are about to do? They'd always kind of like remind us and check us.
We've said that.
So the whole like shooting
you guys
guns,
have good lives.
Going hiking, going on these going to the national parks, swimming and jumping and doing cliff jumping and hiking the Grand Canyon when we're 14 years old. Like, dude, all these crazy things. I'm like, dude, imagine if I didn't have a dad who was spearheading those things for me.
No.
And saying,
and
hey,
that's the normal experience now. Like, this is now rare. And our dads should probably be friends, by the way. We'll have to but that is actually rare. I think it is, like, to be sensitive to that. Yeah. Like, it is, we're now the exception of growing up with good men.
100%.
And then now we're trying to change that narrative. Right. And that's why this topic of masculinity is not just trending, but I think like an emergency, that there are men listening that don't have good fathers, or their dads are in jail. I know a lot of guys at church, their dads are in jail. A couple guys I've mentored their whole life, their dad's been in prison. And so they're being raised by an auntie or an uncle or a Nina, like, and so they are looking to social media, or some random pastor online that they don't know is mentoring them from digitally through TikTok. Yeah. And so there is this huge need. And I think one of the solutions, if I can table it, is one of the notes I have is that men need brotherhood.
Yeah.
And I was just talking to a buddy of mine, and he's in Texas, and he said, I have no in-person friends. He said, I'm really struggling. He reached out through Instagram. Now we're talking, texting. I've done audio text with him and chat, because I think it's way more personal. And he sent me a text, said, hey, pray for me. I sent him an audio, and I said, dude, I love you. I'm praying for you, buddy. And he said, dude, you're like my only bud. And he said, I have no in-person friends right now in Texas. I feel really lonely. And what we're seeing is masculinity crisis. And that we're also seeing is there's a loneliness epidemic, because if I could submit, my thesis is that we've lost the art of friendship. Men don't know how to make friends anymore. It's either weird and awkward, or it's hard to find a good guy that you would want to be vulnerable with. And we don't know where to make them. You got work, gym, church, I don't know, neighborhood. Who's got neighborhood friends anymore, right? So probably don't have any more college friends. They probably all faded out. Rarely do you have high school friends still, only a few. You maybe have cousins, if you're lucky, that are like built-in friends if they're not terrible. So what I'm seeing, even as a pastor full-time, is people are starving for community. Yeah. There's a friendship epidemic, bro. Yeah. Like, they don't know how to be friends anymore.
Right. Well, now that was what I wanted to lean into with the last maybe say 10 minutes or so of this pod is what do we do? So obviously we've identified there's a clear issue here.
Yeah.
Men 1000% are soft in the church. There's times where I'm sure you and I are soft.
Sure. No.
And maybe there's times where we're hyper masculine and it's like, relax.
Yeah, and I've gotten in trouble. And
Yeah.
I do want to say this for the record. No. I have gotten in trouble for that.
Sure.
Being too intense, being too Jimmy, being too broy, being too locker room. And I've had mentorship in my life that has given the balance through feedback and at times some hard criticism, but chewing the meat, spitting the bones of, again, masculinity is not a physical expression. It's a heart thing, right? You could, let's again say like victim weight, like some skinny little, let's just say physically wimpy looking guy could be the most masculine, mighty man ever, right? Because his heart is courageous. We would look at him and judge him unmasculine because we're based on appearance. God looks at the heart, right? That's why they thought Eliab was supposed to be the king when Samuel was like, surely I'm in the presence of the king, which is his super jacked son, Jesse's oldest son.
Yeah.
And guess who's sitting on the sidelines? Eliab, abided in 1 Samuel 17, right? He wouldn't fight Goliath, but David does, right? David was not some meathead gym junkie. He was the runt of the litter with the sheep, right? And even Samuel, the prophet, said, oh, it's got to be the oldest because look at how tall Reece is. Must be him. And that's where we get that famous verse. He says, I do not judge appearance, but I judge the heart. It's not him. Why? Because God knew he was not going to take on Goliath later on. David would, right? So masculinity isn't just about physical traits.
Yeah.
It's not about the facial hair, even though it can be cool. It's not about the tats. That's just for fun. It's not even about the muscles. That's just an expression. It's really just a hobby. No, I know non-tatted, non-facial hair, non-muscle guys that I wish I was more manly like that are manlier than me, that I would say biblically masculine than me, that I'm like, I want to be you. Like you are tender, compassionate, yet bold and unafraid. You don't fear men. You aren't afraid of the world. You aren't afraid of being canceled. You aren't afraid to be vulnerable. Like there are men that I know, we don't look anything alike, that are way more masculine, that I would say biblically than I am, that I want to be like. And then there are these super jacked, handsome, big, buff, jacked, cool pastors too, that are leaning into it. Okay, that's fine, but it's not just a physical thing, right?
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's my rant. So I have gotten in trouble at times for being a bit too intense on it.
Well, and I've had like moments where I check my own heart and I'm like getting too caught up in my social media algorithm. And I'm like, it's like 7 p.m. and I'm getting ready to go to the gym and I'm like scrolling. And I'm just starting to get like the blood boil. Yeah. I see a political thing that ticks me off. Yeah. I see some dudes being idiots on like some stream thing. And I'm like, we need to be men or whatever it is. So I think it's cool that you're hyper aware of that. Two, I think it's super cool.
I'm learning for sure
that it's not just about muscles and tattoos and all that. Yeah. Although like cool, like maybe that is an expression of masculinity.
There's something to it.
Sure. 100%.
In the sense, what we're seeing in the church is people saying, you look like me, or I didn't know I could look like a Christian could look like that.
Yeah. It has utility.
Right. 100%. Right. So, and again, this closes as many doors as it opens.
That's right.
I'll have you know that.
Yeah.
There are places I can't minister. Yeah. Because they're like, you look like a crackhead, right? Or like, you look like a weirdo. So it has not just open doors. I have closed doors, right? A great quote is, broaden your liberties, narrow your ministry. Narrow your liberties, broaden your ministry. Meaning, I leaned into liberties. Tats, whatever. That's a liberty in Christ. I don't think where there's sin. It's liberty. Well, it has narrowed my ministry. If you narrow out of love your liberties, you can have a broader ministry. So I could cover my whole face with tattoos. I know some awesome pastors that do, but it will limit you to a certain extent, right? So for me, my cutoff was hands and neck and face. So I could still wear a suit and still look professional doing a funeral or a wedding. And even then, there's people that are very traditional that are like, my grandparents can't have you do this because you look like a gangbanger or something. And I'm like, hey, fair. I get it. I get it. But then at the same time, I have people writing me on DMs, some veteran that's like, dude, I didn't know Christians look like that. Maybe there's a chance for me. And then it gets them in the door, but it doesn't save them. and then get the gospel, right? But it does, so it tears some walls down. And again, it builds some others up. And especially like critics and fundamentalists, they hate me.
Right.
That's fine. I'm not trying to get them into heaven. I'm not worrying about them.
Yeah.
They're fundies. I'm trying to get a non-Christian into the church, right? To get him saved. Yeah. But yeah, I want to talk about what do we do, man? Like friendship, brotherhood, community, loneliness, masculinity confusion, woke culture, toxic masculinity being thrown out there the moment you try to do something cool. What's the step forward for the church? What's the step forward for us? What's the step forward for even talking about these things on the podcast?
I'm going to be honest. I think this is it's too brief to give nuance to. Well, what does the church need to fix? Yeah. Truthfully, honestly, we don't have enough time for that.
A lot.
But if we're going to go practical, there's a dude listening right now. I'm going to say a not cliche answer, and that would be, when's the last time, if you're feeling lonely, when's the last time you reached out to somebody?
Yeah.
Or shot the text? So often it's like, why? I feel like I don't have friends. So and so is not reaching out to me. It's always me reaching out to them or whatever. But it's like, realistically, when is the last time you've reached out?
Yeah.
Honestly, dude. And I think like 9 times out of 10 you do that, and they're like, oh, dude, yeah, let's connect like next Friday. Let's go get drinks. Let's go whatever. Let's go hang out, play ball, get a lift in. And so practical. The first thing that comes to my mind practically is like, when's the last time you've reached out to somebody? And instead of taking that pity perspective of woe is me, nobody's reaching out to Reece or nobody's reaching out to whoever's listening. So reaching out, I think, is huge, because you mentioned earlier, and I think it's so true, that we have this community epidemic that we're in. We don't have enough of it. The other thing is, on that note, go to church.
Yeah. 100%.
Go to church, bro. It's like I'm people were saying that, and I think culture 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago did used to be more social pre the phone and the internet and the computers and all those things, and Netflix and all the things that kind of keep us in our home. Yeah. So where do you go find community? I think there's a lot of things outside of church. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But like also, hey, are you getting involved in small groups? Are you showing up on Wednesday nights? 100%. Are you just waiting for Sunday? Yeah. So I think those are my two quick responses would be that. I'm curious what your two quick responses would be.
Yeah, I think those are super, super good. I would say the exact same thing. What I'm seeing, and again, Calvary is the church I pastor, a part of pastoring, not the only pastor there by any means. But I've been calling it an army. I'm seeing an army develop, like an army of men. And I don't mean that in like a creepy, like culty way. I just mean, this is what I'm calling it, because I'm seeing all these single guys starting to come that are starving, starving for friendship. There is a departure. There has been a seismic departure from what it means to have a friendship, right? Like, do you remember back in the day, like you didn't have to schedule hangouts?
Yeah.
I didn't have to schedule 100%. A dinner date with you and Bridge.
It wasn't
3 weeks out.
It wasn't work.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, gotta get the house ready. Reece and Bridget are coming over. It used to just be you rang on the doorbell. Now again, I know it's like old America. That's fine. I know it's different now. But we've gotten so formal in some areas, so safeguarded in others. We fear vulnerability. We fear rejection. We're scared of, the legalism culture of letting people in behind the veil a little bit to see behind the curtain. And then I think, honestly, guys just don't know how to be social anymore, right? So what are the things that have upticked? Cigar lounges, drinking bourbon or hanging out and having, bonfires. And like even some of these podcasts, early podcasts were like cigars and theology, bourbon tasting and Jesus. And it was like, why are we mixing those things? Well, because those are formal, or like, let's go play chess and smoke cigars and play cricket. And it's like, okay, that sounds weird. Yeah. But what they're doing is they're grabbing a different social element and incorporating it here to be like a median between friendship, when we can have those things in the church. I'm not saying any of those things are necessarily wrong in and of themselves. That sounds like a great time if that's what you want to do. But what we're seeing is people are just finding other ways of fellowship that the church should be providing, right? The church, in my opinion, is God's cure for all broken things through the gospel. The church should be the most social place we're at. The church should be the most connected we are. We look back at the first century church in Acts 2, 3, 4, 5. What does it say? They shared all things in common so that there was not one need among them. Think about that. They were literally saying, I told the church this, preaching. I'll say it here, and don't take it the wrong way. Here's the statement. if we actually did church like it looks like in Acts, people would think we were a cult. They did things so closely.
Yeah. With such radical generosity as well. Yeah.
Like, think about imagine you and Bridget selling your home and laying hundreds of thousands of dollars at the feet of the disciples or the apostles and saying, hey, here, we're moving in an apartment. Here's $500,000. Let's put it to good use. Let's buy 5 more homes and let's house these families there. That would be on the news. And someone would say we were a cult, right? But no, that was just radical Christianity.
Right.
Or like normal Christianity, or like radical Christianity now would just be what normal Christianity was then. Because there was no option. You would have your head cut off. You're being persecuted. You were being rounded up and flamed and torched by Nero. You were being persecuted. You had the Pharisees, not the Jebusites, the radical Pharisees. What are they called? Why am I totally blanking? The Judaizers. My goodness, sorry, a total brain fart. The Judaizers. He had all these, the Gnostic heretics. He had all these things happening. So church was this full family, bro. Like, we didn't have to parse it out. You didn't have to schedule a Bible study on the calendar and planning center. You just were at Reese's house, right? Like, I even remember, like, in some of the friends of ours talking about in the African-American church, they're like, why are you guys so obsessed with discipleship? They're like, that's just what we always do. We just go eat together. We hang out together. We do life together. You guys call it discipleship. We call it doing life together. And I was like, oh, that's really convicting.
You're like, great. I feel that.
Yeah, I thought we'd get with a cool term. No, was like, no, like we just keep church going. Now we eat. Then we hang out. Then we go watch a movie. Like, and it doesn't have to be like over the top, but I think we've now parsed things out so much, right? Where everyone's hungry for the same thing. People are designed for fellowship. We have the Imago Dei, the image of God. We were designed to be in unity and in harmony and in community with other humans and God himself, of course, right? So when we're not, there's a disjointedness happening. That's why the loneliness epidemic is huge, right? That's why you have a God-sized hole in your heart that God fills and then is expressed through friendship.
Right.
And you're like, wow, this is so fulfilled. Like, why do you leave a great friendship moment and you feel like so like, man, that was a great time with Reece.
I'm going to miss that.
I'm going to miss that. That was
Wish I could bottle that up a little bit.
Yeah. Like it. Wow. Like we should do that more often.
Right.
Wow. That was such a blessing. I went and served street ministry downtown and gave 1,000 burritos to people. And man, it's just great to serve with my friends. And man, it's a good day. And you're not giving your mental health a day off to sit around and wallow in your loneliness. You just got out and did something. Those moments just need to keep happening. It's like going to
because it's what you're designed for.
It's like going to the gym. You go to the gym, you feel great one time because you release endorphins, hormones, testosterone spikes, adrenaline goes off. You feel like you did something hard.
Accomplished a goal, got better.
Posted the post, somebody liked it, you feel great about it. Look at me, went to the gym one time. Well, that's great. That's like one great hangout. You showed up for one church event. I went to that prayer meeting.
You have to be consistent.
You got to be consistent.
Well, and I want to make this abundantly clear. This is not a podcast about relationships or loneliness, but why are we talking about community? It's because I think this iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, probably.
So the reason we're even saying, hey, what are practical things you need to do as a man? Really a woman too, but as a man who's like, hey, how do I take that first step in becoming more healthy with masculinity?
Yeah.
In my masculinity, to become more like Jesus. It is community. It is fellowship. 100%. It's not isolation. And the reason for that is because that is where you see men who are better than you.
Yeah.
That's where I go, dude, oh man. Yeah, that guy's modeling what it looks like for me to be healthy in this way.
And then you got to go ask him for mentorship.
Or they correct you.
Yeah.
And like, hey, bro, dude, you need to work on this.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, how do I become better or how to become more masculine? Or how do I follow the plan God has for me? Yeah. It's like, dude, you need to be sharpened. How do you be sharpened? Community.
Other iron, bro.
Yeah, dude.
You need friends and then you need a mentor.
Yeah.
Right? And so you need every guy listening and gal, right? The Bible, Titus, right? Older men train younger men, older women train younger women. That was the model. It's not just the pastor. I can't mentor everybody, but there are legends in your church every church, I call them gatekeepers. The men of the city would sit at the gate, right? Those are the places of honor in the scriptures, right? And so they're the gatekeepers. They're the ones that are influential. They're the ones that flew under the radar, that have been married for 55 years, have millions in the bank, and aren't divorced. And their grandkids are walking with Christ. Find that guy and ask him to take you to lunch once a month. Or I'll take you to lunch once a month. Right? And you pay, you come with questions, you bring your Bible, you bring your notes, like you pick that guy's brain, ask him to, can I come over to your house and, teach me how to change my oil? Like one of the things, one of my dreams, don't tell anybody, one of my dreams is to like have like an auto body shop at church where we can train young men on auto repair. Just to imagine like after school program, right? Like all these boys learn how to change oil, tires, tune up cars, have a dyno, and also have like good work for cars.
It's healthy for every young man to have a little tinnitus from some power
tools. Come on, like get some calluses, man. Do something tough. Change an oil. Like everyone's got to have like oil sprayed in their eye one time, laying under the.
That's healthy.
Getting burned by the asphalt in your shoulders and oil in my eye, and like everyone's like go do it. And if you don't know how, find someone that does. Find someone, be vulnerable, and like you said, send a text, be vulnerable. Because we aren't going to get better alone. We're getting worse and lonelier. So the alternative is that we're only going to get better together. And so everyone listening, find someone, like you said, send the text, send that SOS. Hey, dude, I have a buddy of mine he's so vulnerable. I love his vulnerability with me. Just the other day I asked him, how you doing? He goes, yesterday was a lonely day for me. He says, yesterday I was really wrestling with loneliness. He goes, then, I had some good time with the Lord and worked through it. He's like, I'm good. He's like, but yesterday was a lonely one. It was a low day for me. And I was like, oh, hey, thanks for telling me. I love you, bud. Let's talk about it. But we just don't talk like that anymore, right? Because we're scared. It's going to be
something. It's going to be a whole thing. I want to say this too, man, before we wrap up. I think there's the guys who are listening who are on the receiving end of like, I'm low.
Yeah.
I'm struggling. There's also the dudes who have been in church for a while, who've been walking with the Lord for a while, who need to be that bigger brother for some other guys. Yeah. And frankly, I've got some guys who text me sometimes. I was talking to Bridget. I was like, I actually feel terrible that for many years, there's some guys who've maybe wanted to go shooting with me, wanted to go camping, wanted to do the masculine thing. But I was like, well, they're kind of like, they're at like ground level. I'm here. Yeah. And selfishly, if I'm going to go, I want to go with people who are ahead of me.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, but take the time to mentor the guy.
Yes.
Go to coffee, go do whatever to then help sharpen them.
It's a great idea.
That's another reason why community is so important.
It's so important. And I think mentorship has to be sought, not offered. But I do think you can make yourself available.
Yeah.
Right? Like we can't say like, hey, Reece, can I mentor you? Because that infers I think I'm better than you. You'd be like,
no, that's weird.
Right. It would have to be, Reece, would you mentor me?
Correct.
Right. But what I could say is, hey, Reece, here's my number. If you ever need anything, let me know.
Yeah.
That opens the door to say, oh, dude, Jason made himself available to me. Maybe he wants to get lunch and I could pick his brain on something. Right. And so like you said, there are people in your church or the people listening, there are people in your church that maybe you can't thrust and like just jump on, I want to mentor you because I could tell you're weird, right? Like that'd be, no. But you could say, hey, dude, here's my number. Like I remember being a young guy in the Lord, an older guy giving me his cell was like a big deal. Do you remember that feeling of like, wow, I look up to this guy. And he's not giving me an email. Like, that's like a soft rejection. Like, my assistant will call you. It was like, hey, here's my number.
Teresa will be reaching out.
Yeah, exactly. I just had someone email me. Yeah, my assistant will set up a lunch. I'm like, all right, Mr. Fancy Dog. Like, okay, like, sick. Yeah. Here's my cell if you want to text me. Like, I'm just a dude, bro. But, like, I remember it felt so important. Yeah. It felt so important when, I had someone that I looked up to in my life be like, hey, here's my cell. Like, give me your phone. Put my number in. And then they said, don't be shy. They would say that. Don't be shy. You can text me. And so I think we can make ourselves available by being more accessible, right? Which is a whole other rant.
Yes.
But we're so inaccessible, right? We don't post our addresses. No one knows where each other. I don't know where you live, and that's fine. But it's just everything's so private now, right? Giving someone a number would even be a flex. Like that was just what you did back then.
What you did, dude.
Because again, in my mind, I'm like, they could still DM me. They could still Facebook message me. They could email me 2 different emails. They can, look up my DMV and probably find my home address. Come on. I might as well give them my cell because that's the easiest to track my inbox. But it means the most.
Yeah.
It means I am available to you and you now have access to my personal life.
Yeah.
And so I'll say, hey, don't be shy. I'll get you when I can. And I think that, again, starts this conversation, takes down a wall of feeling nervous, you're going to be rejected, or you're a bother. You're not a bother. Hey, Reece, text me, man. If you ever hurting, let me know. I'm always here for you. I'm praying for you, bro.
Yeah.
And you can establish that initiative, open up the door, and then they can say, hey, can I take you to breakfast once a month or whatever? And so I really think, and I know we got to close, because it's good thing we have a podcast. Closing we have a lot to say. Yeah. So any closing thoughts, man?
Well, no, I love everything you're saying. I think if there's one thing I'm taking home from this, and obviously for our listeners, it's that, again, the Bible, Jesus specifically, is going to show us what it looks like to be a man.
Yeah.
There is a problem. We're all part of this problem of why masculinity is not healthy, why maybe at times it's toxic, why maybe at times we need to be more emotional and empathetic, and maybe at times where it's like, hey, dude, go to the gym, maybe pick up the weight, maybe go shoot a gun, like do the things that are like, because you've swung too far to the other side, right? And so I think we all need to do some self-reflection. Where do I stand? And you mentioned that this is a spectrum. Yeah. Where do I fall on this spectrum of masculinity? And then of course, with such a short podcast, like we can't get into every solution.
Yeah.
But I do believe it starts with community. I do believe it starts with getting around some dudes that are better than you, and that are Christian, obviously. In 60 seconds or less.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts, man?
Craig Groeschel said one time, classic Craig Groeschel, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. You surround yourself with good people, right? 1 Corinthians chapter 15 talks about, right? Bad company corrupts good morals, right? You can't be around the bad enough before the bad finally gets to you, right? Like it talks about, delighting yourself in the law of the Lord, meditating day and night, right? And not walking with the scoffers, standing with the sinners, sitting in the seat of the scoffer, right? Psalm chapter 1, right? So men will become what they're around. And so being in the gym, all those things are great expressions of different disciplines, right? Someone once said the way you do one thing is the way you do all things, right? And so if you start the discipline early, you're going to be in your word. You read the word daily, you're going to work out daily. You do all these other things the same. You work hard every day. You want to make good money, but you lack on these areas, right? So we want to work on discipline, not from a place of legalism, but from a place of covenant relationship with the Lord. And then, be brave, be vulnerable, take the step.
Yeah.
And honestly, the classic DM I always get when someone asks for help is I ask them, do you have a local church?
So good.
Where's your local church, Reece? Talk to your pastor.
I'm
a stranger from across the country or the globe, and I'll be there for you. That's fine. I love you. But where's your local church? And if you don't have one, I will find you one. You need real people, not digital friends. Yeah. I can be something, but we're supplemental.
Yes.
We're not entree. We're like a protein shake in between meals. You need the main meal, right?
I want to yes and amen what you're saying. And I think that's so good, especially for you, because people do look up to you and they see you as this pastoral figure. It's like you are that supplement. Yeah. You're not the main meal. No. And even take it a step further, your church, in essence, is supplemental. Like Christ is the main meal.
100%.
Ultimately. So like you can go to church and still be hungry.
100%. You got to feed yourself, man.
100%. Dude, okay, this is great. This is episode number 3 of the Unsaid Podcast. Guys, hopefully you took something from this. Wherever it is that you're watching, peace and blessings as you go. We'll see you in the next episode.